The Chicago Bears lose to the Detroit Lions at home by a score of 31-30 to drop to 3-7 on the season. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears post-game reaction video, which I'll be doing after every single game this year, win or lose. If you guys want my thoughts after each Bears game, definitely be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as you can see, I'm actually out of town right now. I'm in a hotel room, so this video is going to be kind of short because I do have to do stuff after recording this. And I'm sure a lot of you guys also don't want to hear too much about a game in which we lose to the Detroit Lions. Okay, even though it's a rebuilding year for us, losing to the Lions, who only had 2 wins before this game, that's pathetic, okay, especially at home. But I do want to point out that the referees completely screwed us again, okay, 2 games in a row, because there was so many calls, man. So many calls that went against the Chicago Bears in this game. I have a stat right now which I want to bring up. The Bears were flagged 9 times for 86 yards in this game. The Lions were only flagged 2 times for 15 total yards. There was a lot of penalties that could have been called against the Lions if the officiating was consistent, okay? If you're going to nitpick penalties and call as many penalties as you can, at least make it consistent for both sides. Why would you call a hands to the face on Jalen Johnson after that Jack Sanborn interception when clearly his hands were not touching the face? Okay, if you watch the replay, Jalen Johnson's hands never touched the face of that Lions defender. That Lions defender flopped and he got the call, okay, which wiped out a game-changing, potentially game-winning Jack Sanborn interception, because I know there was a lot of time left on the clock, but that would have changed the entire momentum of the game, okay, if that Sanborn interception counted, okay? So that was a horrible call. Justin Fields threw a pick 6 right after that play, which obviously that was a horrible ball by Justin Fields. I don't want to excuse Justin Fields on that throw because he overshot the guy, and that was a terrible pick 6, okay? Which young players, they're going to make mistakes, and that was a terrible mistake by Justin Fields, okay? It allowed the Lions to come back into the game, but that only happened after that interception that we had got called off for some bullshit reason, okay? So that was a terrible call. There was also a terrible call on the first drive of this game on Braxton Jones, a holding penalty, in which the commentators even agreed that that should probably not have been holding, okay? There's barely anything there to suggest that that play actually was holding, that backed the Bears up. And unfortunately, we could not get a touchdown on that drive, even though I felt like we probably were going to score a touchdown, okay, with how our offense was rolling going down the field on that first drive, okay? So that was a bad call, and there were so many other calls, man, in this game that I don't even have the time to list all of them, okay? It felt like every other play was a penalty against the Chicago Bears, and a lot of them probably were not penalties. So even though the Bears were undisciplined today, a lot of them were just bullshit calls, man, that really did set the Chicago Bears back. And I do get that if the referees want to be inserting themselves into the game, if they want to be a stickler for the rules and call all the rules, you know, precisely, and, you know, even exaggerate on what the rules are, if you're going to do that, at least be consistent for both sides, okay? So give the Chicago Bears some makeup calls down the stretch, which obviously did not happen, okay? So again, I don't want to blame the referees completely for this loss, because against the Detroit Lions, you should be able to win a game like that, okay? Against a team this pathetic, a team that only had 2 wins before this game, being at home, you should have still been able to win. So, you know, we played horrible too, especially on defense, okay? And Justin Fields did make a crucial interception, crucial mistake that, you know, helped the Lions get back into this game. But if the officiating was fair and consistent, I think the Chicago Bears would have won this game. And that's 2 weeks in a row now, which I feel like the Bears would have won the game, man, with more consistent officiating. So I know Lions fans in the comments are not going to be happy to hear that. And yes, I do admit, man, I totally admit the Bears are not a good football team right now. So yes, the loss is also on us, okay? It's not only on the referees, but if the officiating was more consistent, if the NFL did not have a major problem with their officiating, this game is looking a lot different. So putting the bad officiating aside, let's talk about the rest of the game. I'll talk about the offense first of all. And guys, putting together 30 points, even though it's a horrible Lions defense, was impressive for the most part, okay? Justin Fields had another monster day, again, besides for that pick 6, which, yes, I don't want to discount that pick 6 because that was a terrible throw in a bad moment, which Fields is going to have to learn from. But aside from that pick 6, man, Fields again carried the Chicago Bears offense on his back. He had 167 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, a passer rating of 99.4. But he also had 147 yards on the ground, okay? He started this game out with a big run. 28 yards, he had that run at the end of the first half, in which I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea how the heck Justin Fields broke that tackle, okay? He was about to get sacked, but he somehow spins out of that sack and plows into the defender, okay, into the end zone, which was an insane run, okay? A Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick level run out of Justin Fields. And then obviously after throwing that pretty bad pick six, man, Justin Fields bounces back immediately and comes back with a 67-yard rushing touchdown in which he completely just outruns everybody else on the football field. So again, as a runner, Justin Fields definitely was elite. But even as a passer, man, there was a lot of high-level throws in this game from Justin Fields, especially in that first half. Okay, ending this game, it wasn't the best, obviously, so we still have to work on the passing game. He still has to improve as a passer. But in that first half, man, he made a bunch of pretty high-level throws, okay, on the move, down the field to Darnell Mooney, to Byron Pringle. He came back, also some to Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet had 2 touchdowns in this one, and also I think it was like 57 yards or something. And obviously Cole Kmet had a monster game, and I mean, Cole Kmet is being unlocked, okay, by Luke Getsy and the Bears offense, because before the last 3 games, man, he had like 0 touchdowns in the last, I think it was like 18, 19 games. Well, in the last 3 games, man, Cole Kmet has 5 total touchdowns. Okay, he had a nice jumping grab in the end zone and also a play in which he was schemed wide freaking open, man, by Luke Getsy and also by the threat of our running game. Okay, so Cole Kmet was completely wide open there. Fields hit him on the easy pass, and that was a 40+ yard touchdown. I think it was like almost 50 yards. So love to see Cole Kmet getting involved finally. And overall, I think that Justin Fields, you know, besides for that pick six, did not make too many other glaringly bad mistakes. But again, man, this offensive line in pass protection, many times it does falter. Okay, so we could still use better pass blocking offensive linemen, and we could also use better receivers still. Okay, I know we have 2 pretty solid pieces in Claypool and Mooney. Claypool still has yet to get involved really in this Bears passing game, but we could use another guy, man, going down the field, because at the end of this game, it felt like nobody was getting open for Fields on that last play. Okay, Fields kept the play going. He kept upright somehow, even though he was about to go down like 4 or 5 different times. He somehow kept upright, kept that play going for like 6-7 seconds, but unfortunately it felt like nobody was open down the field, and he went down for the game-ending sack basically. Okay, so you maybe would have liked to see Fields still throw it up to somebody to at least give the Bears a chance to, you know, move the ball down the field, give somebody a chance to make an insane catch. But unfortunately, Fields did not throw the ball up, and nobody was open anyways to catch the ball. Okay, so bad ending sequence for the Chicago Bears. And yes, the passing game really did falter in that last quarter. Okay, it should have been better, and we do have to work on that on this passing game overall. It's definitely not good enough right now, but with how elite our run game is, we're still being able to score this many points. We're still being able to score basically 30 points every single game. And obviously the offense right now is not the main problem in Chicago. Okay, so even though there was a bad pick six, okay, I'm not going to excuse that bad throw by Justin Fields, but the offense was good enough to win the game. Okay, if our defense was at least average, which it's clearly not right now. Okay, let me talk about the Chicago Bears defense, allowing 24 points, and that's not good enough, guys. Okay, against the Detroit Lions offense that had so many guys missing in this game. I mean, down the stretch, Jared Goff was throwing to just completely random guys that I had never even heard of, really. Okay, and I'm a big fan of the NFL. A lot of these guys he was throwing to, I had barely even heard of, and still he was able to move the ball down the field, put together the game-winning drive for the Lions, partly because Jalen Johnson was looking pretty rough down there, down the stretch. He was injured before this game, so maybe that injury did contribute to him not looking really good out there. But in man coverage, Jalen Johnson obviously struggled big time down the stretch. Our pass rush still is nowhere to be found, okay, because we only had, I believe, 1 sack in this game, which Jack Sanborn, my guy, man, he had that sack. He also had what should have been an interception, which got called back for some bullshit reason. So love to see the game out of Jack Sanborn, but overall, man, our pass rush is nowhere to be found. Okay, like, where is our front four? We also don't blitz that much, so that's another reason why we're not getting any pressure on the quarterback. So I'm really having questions right now about Allen Williams and what his plan is with this defense, because even though we do lack the talent, you should be able to generate some type of way, man, to put together some stops, and the Bears could not do this in the game going down the stretch, which is a problem going forward. Okay, so personnel is going to be changed. Obviously, next year we're going to add new pieces to this defense with the boatload of cap space that we have and the high draft pick we're going to have as well, but they were not good enough in this game. Okay, a line 24 to your offense this hobbled. You cannot be doing that, even though a lot of calls did go against you. And finally, talking about special teams, Cairo Santos, what the hell happened, man? I mean, I know that this guy's been money for us basically his entire career in Chicago, but today was a bad day by Cairo Santos, kicking the ball out of bounds and also missing the extra point, which ended up maybe costing the Bears the victory. Okay, maybe the Bears still would have lost this game down the stretch with how bad our defense was, but this game at least would have been tied at the end, and maybe going into overtime, okay, if Cairo Santos did not miss that extra point. So overall, man, I don't know what else to say about this game. Obviously, we did not play well enough to win this game, even though the officiating was against us again. Okay, so with proper officiating, I feel like we could have won this game, but we lost at home to the lowly Detroit Lions to basically wipe out any chances we had of making the playoffs, which again, I know most Bears fans were not expecting playoffs this year, so it's not like that's like a big loss for us, you know, dropping down to 3-7, but it does suck losing to teams like the Lions because the morale is not going to be good, man, after a loss like this, in which even though we did fight in this game, okay, you cannot be losing to teams like the Detroit Lions. This does improve our draft position though, which I am happy about, obviously, because now it is looking like the Bears are going to have a top 5 pick in the draft this year, which could potentially be huge, okay, because obviously we're not going to be selecting a quarterback this year. So all the top quarterbacks up there, man, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, if any are in position to be drafted in the top 5 and we trade back with a QB needy team, we could get a lot of draft capital back, man, and make this rebuild go a lot faster, okay? Because right now I'm still thinking, man, if we fix this defense up, like the Bears could be a pretty decent team next year, okay? Maybe a playoff contending team next year because our offense keeps on exploding. Our quarterback keeps on putting this team on his back, and ultimately that is how you win long term in this league, okay? With great offensive play and with great quarterback play, and hopefully we can make that more consistent going forward, okay, when we have a better team around Justin Fields to turn these close losses into W's. So let me know what you guys think about this game in the comments down below. I have to go. I'm sorry this video was pretty short, but I hope you guys still enjoyed. As always, bear down.